It was supposed to be just another night. The routine had become so ingrained in our lives that I hardly ever questioned it. Every evening, after dinner, we would settle in for the night with our own little rituals. My wife, Emily, would read in the living room while I watched a show, or sometimes we'd talk about our day. But that night, everything changed. It started like any other. The sun dipped below the horizon, and the evening settled in with a calm familiarity. I had just finished the dishes, and Emily was sitting on the couch, flipping through her book. Her hair was loose, cascading over her shoulders, and there was a soft smile on her face as she lost herself in the pages. I couldn't help but admire her, even after all these years together. We had been married for almost 10 years, and though life had changed around us, there was a certain comfort in the routine. After some time, I decided to join her. I sat beside her on the couch, careful not to disturb her as she read. We didn't need words. It was a type of quiet intimacy we had developed over the years. But that night, something was different. I could feel her tension, even though she didn't show it outwardly. There was something in the way she flipped through her pages, a restlessness in the way her eyes darted around the room as if searching for something. I tried to ignore it at first, focusing on my show, but then I noticed her hand tremble slightly as she set her book down. I turned to her, curiosity tugging at my chest. "Hey, you okay?" She looked at me, her eyes momentarily flickering with uncertainty before she smiled. "Yeah, just tired." Her response was the same as always. But this time, I didn't believe it. I could tell there was something more beneath the surface, something she wasn't saying. "Emily talked to me," I said, my voice softer now. I reached out, gently resting my hand on hers. She hesitated, her breath catching slightly as if she was deciding whether or not to open up. After a few moments, she sighed deeply and spoke. "I've been thinking about things," she said, her voice quieter than usual. "Things about us. About our relationship." The words hung in the air, and my chest tightened as I processed them. I had known that things hadn't been perfect between us lately, but I hadn't thought it was anything serious. "What do you mean?" She shifted uncomfortably, pulling her hand away from mine. "I think we've gotten too comfortable in our routine," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "We've let the monotony of it all become our whole life. We're just going through the motions, not really living anymore. And I miss something. I miss feeling alive." I could hear the underlying pain in her voice, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a wave of guilt wash over me. I had been so absorbed in my own world, my own distractions, that I hadn't noticed how distant we had become. "What do you mean by feeling alive?" I asked, trying to understand what she was getting at. She looked down at her lap, biting her lip. "I don't know," she murmured. I don't want to feel like I'm stuck in this endless cycle. I want something more, something real again." I was about to speak when I noticed the vulnerability in her eyes, the way she was holding herself back as though afraid of saying too much. My heart ached at the thought of her feeling trapped. "We can fix this," I said, leaning in closer, trying to reassure her. "We can change things. We don't have to keep going like this. We'll figure it out, okay?" But then, something shifted. In that moment, the quiet between us became charged with a tension I hadn't anticipated. Emily's eyes locked with mine, and there was something raw in her gaze, something that made my pulse quicken. She leaned in, ever so slightly, and I could feel the weight of her presence beside me. "I don't know if we can fix it just by talking about it," she whispered. "Maybe it's time to do something drastic." Her words hit me like a punch to the stomach. "What do you mean?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she leaned even closer, her breath warm against my ear. "Maybe we need to cross that line, do something we've never done before. Something that will break us free from all this monotony." I froze, unsure of what she was suggesting. The thought of crossing a line, whatever that meant, felt both thrilling and terrifying at the same time. "Emily, are you sure?" She didn't respond with words. Instead, she moved closer, her lips brushing lightly against my ear as she whispered, "What if we took a chance? What if we threw caution to the wind and did something that would change everything?" The air between us crackled with the unspoken tension of what could be, and my heart raced with a mix of excitement and fear. I couldn't deny that part of me wanted to take that risk, to step out of the predictable safety of our routine. But another part of me wondered if this was the right thing to do, if crossing that line would truly bring us closer or pull us further apart. For a long moment, we sat there in silence, the weight of her words settling around us. The decision was hanging in the balance, and I had no idea what the outcome would be. But one thing was clear. Whatever happened next would be the end of our old routine, the life we had built together. We were on the edge of something new, something unknown. "I'm not sure about this," I said softly, my voice trembling slightly. "I don't want to hurt us." She took my hand then, her fingers warm against mine. Sometimes, to find the way forward, you have to break free of what's holding you back. And in that moment, I realized that the line we were about to cross wasn't just about taking a step into the unknown. It was about confronting the truth we had been avoiding for so long, that we were both yearning for more, but we had to be willing to risk everything to find it.